Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. Today is going to be a cracker. I'm joined throughout the morning by the owner of one of the most famous voices in classical music. I'm so excited. Sabrin Tova will be dropping by. And also I'm excited because Adam Richman from Man vs. Food has come all the way from America. He'll be talking about the new series, why he's eating his way around Great Britain. And we're tasting cuisine from one of Spain's greatest cities on the latest leg of my food adventure. Chef Simon Hulston will be here as well. He's back all the way from Devon. He's here to make one of his trademark desserts, and I'll be teaching you everything you want to know about salad dressings in this week's little masterclass. Perfect for the summer coming up. That's not all, because I'm also here with a chef who's become, over the years, my TV sidekick. Yes, from the North Norfolk coast. It's Mr. Gordon Blackiston. Good to have you on, Chefy.
Oh, it's lovely to be here, especially with this.
Well, I know we're going to get onto this in a minute, but what have you brought with you from Norfolk? What are you going to be cooking?
I've brought you a few things. I'm going to do a Dover sole.
Right.
And I ain't done Dover sole for years.
Okay.
And you've got a Dover sole pan, which is perfect for it. And it's just going to be a celebration of spring vegetables, you know, Jersey Royals, asparagus, peas, wild garlic.
Right.
What can possibly go wrong?
Quite a lot, to be honest with you. But we're kicking things off today with a dish using one of the best ingredients you'll find anywhere on the planet. Sorry, it's not in Norfolk,
no.
And it's not in Yorkshire. It's down in Somerset. We're going to introduce you to that in a minute, but it's some brilliant middle white pork. As you know, I used to be a pig farmer. I loved it working on the farm as well like that. But when we were farmers, we used to produce middle white pork, and nobody really wanted it, really. Middle white pork has gone through such a revolution over the years. Before the war, it was hugely popular. Then with rationing and everything else, it wasn't so popular. Now with supermarkets, it's not so popular because everybody thinks pork should be white and less fat, because highly intensive reared pork, that kind of stuff. This is probably, I'm not going to say probably, the best ingredient we're going to have in the show for the last 8 years. Trust me.
Are genuinely excited about
Honestly, when I knew we were going to be doing this and meeting the chap that I nearly wet myself, to be honest with you, because it's probably too much information, but this is just epic.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this middle white pork, and I thought I'd do this with some little bit of Hispy cabbage, with some butter and some little bit of water, some black pepper, some new potatoes, and a nice little bit of salsa verde. Really simple. But I'm going to get on and talk about the pork first of all, because we're introducing yourself to a gentleman who produces sort of stuff in a minute. But I'm going to start off with this classic sort of bone roast shoulder.
Perfect.
What I'm going to do first of all is take this like that and then pop it onto the tray. Now, the thing about this, people tell you to put a kettle of boiling water over it, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You don't need to do... When it's good quality like this, you need to do nothing with it, apart from take some sea salt over the top. And this has been scored as well, because Andy, you're about to meet in a minute, has scored it. And we just sprinkle this over the top. That's all you need to do with it. Now, the key to this, to get the best crackling, I always find, is always the quality of the meat, which we'll talk about the meat colour in a minute, but it's the oven. 250 to 260 degrees centigrade, so as hot as really your oven will go. Middle shelf, otherwise it's the top shelf and it's not a fan oven, it will sort of burn, but get this really, really hot. This goes in for 30 minutes. When it's after about 30 minutes, then you turn the temperature down or take it out and turn it down. Fortunately, I've got two ovens here, so I've got this one over here. This is set at 160 to continue cooking it. This one's about 250, 260 for the first of it. So what you do is you take this, pop it straight in the oven. You do nothing with it. Don't cover it, don't do anything with it. Leave it for 30 minutes. Take it out, turn the oven down. For a big chunk of shoulder like that, it's going to take about 2.5, 3 hours to gently cook. For a little loin that we've got over here, this is going to take about an hour total cook. But the same process apply. Hot oven to start with and turn it down. 160, and I've got one of you. We're going to reveal this magic in a minute, but not quite yet, because we're going to head down to Somerset to meet up with Andy Barr from Little Oak Farm. It's a pleasure having you on the show, Andy. Good to see you.
Good morning, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very, very good. And now Galton's really excited about this as well, because...
Good.
Because tell everybody about where it all started then, how it all started for you, because you're not from a farming background, you and your partner. This is not one of your first loves that did it. It is your love now, but how did it all start?
We both originally came from Berkshire. I was a truck driver in the music events industry, touring bands around Europe. My wife was an accountant.
Love it.
We sort of seeked out a better life, a nicer life, an easier, it's not an easier life now. Yes, it's definitely not an easier life.
Yeah.
And we found this farm down in Somerset on Exmoor National Park, which is absolute idyllic. It's heaven.
Right.
It's a fantastic place.
So was this a tenant farm, or was this you actually ended up bought?
It's our own farm.
So you bought the farm. You knew nothing about
Yep.
farming. Did you know what you were going to be producing on the farm before you bought it, or you just bought it and thought we'll just produce something?
We bought it. We had a few ideas in our heads. We didn't sort of agree on anything. Then one day, my wife said, "I tell you what, let's try pigs," which you do.
Yeah.
We thought about it. We had no idea on the breed. My wife at the time was the accountant to a local hotel. She got talking to the head chef about pigs, breeds of pigs, and he said the only pig you need to do is the middle white pig. End of story.
He was
That's
right.
the only pig.
And it's quite unusual, this, because chefs have been talking about it for years, but the actual supply, there's very, very few people that do it. There were back then, like I said, before the war, but not many people now.
No, there's very few. I know of maybe one or two down here, middle white, and same with a lot of rare breeds. You can't find them around a lot. But we just sort of hit on what I think now is a bit of a niche market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pig now that's coming back into fashion, definitely in restaurants and hotels.
So
a lot
from
more chefs are
that
taking
you
it.
started. I mean, did you end up buying two? Did you end up buying a few? How did it then progress from that to where you are now?
We bought 6 weaners. That's how we first started. Found someone up north that did the middle whites because there was none down here. Bought 6 weaners, brought them on. Did the meat. We took it to a local butcher who did all the processing for us. We then sort of gave it away, sold it to family and friends. People liked it. They loved it. They said it's how pork used to taste and how they want their pork to taste now. We then sold it to a chef, another chef who had a hotel, who said he'd never tried middle white before and he'd like to try it. He just had it for the first time and just adored it. He had shoulder joints offers for his Sunday roast. It was the marbling, it was the fat, it was the colour, and he's just stayed with us ever since then.
And for somebody that spent their entire life driving rock bands and stuff like that all around the world, this is a very, very different life that you're leading now, but one that I absolutely admire as well. I would love to give it what I do and do what you're doing as well. It's just, I think it's brilliant. So do you miss that life, or?
I missed the life. It all changed in lockdown. I think, I'd done it for 35 years and you're away from home an awful lot. And I think the lockdown changed my outlook on life. You're home with your family more, you're home with your wife. You realise what you've been missing for the last 30 years.
Well,
it was a great lifestyle.
You realise
any of it.
You realise what you've been missing for the last 30 years. Every time I cook this, I remember what I was missing when I was sort of younger as a kid, because we used to eat stuff like this. Because this is what we call the money shot in TV, and this is what I want to really get their mobile phones out and just look at this. This is just epic. This is the roast pork. Look at this. Now I put nothing else on this, like that. And not only do you have this amazing pork like that, you also have this for your roast potatoes.
Yeah.
Dear me, like that. And then we've got this one. This is your loin of pork as well. Listen.
Beautiful.
Like that.
Beautiful.
The crispy crackling over the top as well. I mean, where are you selling this now? Because obviously you've got the online shop and stuff like that. Are you still doing the farmers markets and everything else?
Yeah, we have an online shop. We do farmers markets. We do quite a few food festivals in the southwest. We sell to a lot of hotels and restaurants and cafes around here, and expanding all the time, which is good. Word's getting around now. I think people are more aware of what we provide. I mean, people now want traceability on their pork or all their meat and vegetables now, and that's something we can give them, 100% traceability. Everything we do is produced. We have our own on-farm butchery now, so everything is processed on the farm.
Love it.
So,
I absolutely love it. Well, hopefully you like what I'm going to be doing. They've got a little bit of salsa verde over here, which is garlic, a little bit of lemon, some mustard, some fresh herbs. I'm just mixing that together, a little bit of olive oil, like that. And then I'm just going to slice this all up, because I know Galton will be waiting for a little taste. Yeah. I've got my potatoes over here, which we're going to drain off, which I'll just drain off. I've got my cabbage, which I've cooked. You're not taking that in the back of the car?
No, I aren't. I'm just looking at it. It's quite a small loin, this one, isn't it?
they're not very big pigs.
They look enormous, though.
But they look,
Yeah,
look
the
enormous.
middle
They
white
look
is
enormous.
the middle white is a smallish pig.
Yeah.
So
And that's probably
So
the reason
not-
why people are not using it now for, you know, for the larger volume, because they don't get the yield from it, I suppose. It's all
No, totally.
cost-related and
Yeah.
everything else, isn't it?
yeah. Plus they generate a lot, too much fat if you let them go too big.
Ah,
So,
right.
there we have it. So, look, I'm going to get you a little bit of the cabbage, a few bits of the new potatoes, like that. But the main thing is obviously I want a decent amount of pork that you're going to go with it. So we're going to slice this all up. I'll just move that to one side. Because then I'm going to slice this. Do you want a little bit? You want a little bit of the loin, maybe, don't you?
I don't mind either. It looks so good. So good. And I think that fat to meat ratio is so important. I love the fat on pork.
Crispy crackling.
Yeah.
And also when you the texture of it, the flavour of it is just off the charts. But look at the moisture on it.
You've actually cooked that perfectly. What is going on?
I told you I was so excited about this. I was really concentrating on this one.
It looks amazing.
It's nice to have mates like this on the show, isn't it, Andy? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Exactly. Look, we've got a little bit of the sauce with it as well. So just before we go, I wish you all the very best of luck with it. Next time I'm down there, I'm going to go visit as well. And there you have it,
do.
ladies and gentlemen. One of the best ingredients I think we've had on the show for the last 8 years, and one that's got me so excited. I may not pass it over to him to taste it, but there we have it. My roasted middle white pork with a simple sauce, salsa verde, cabbage and new potatoes.
It looks amazing. How long do you cook that loin for?
This loin?
Yeah.
What, do you want the recipe? I'll
No,
give
how
you.
long do you cook it for?
This one, an hour total, an hour and 10
Yeah,
minutes.
it's perfect.
Easy as that. Done. Chefy, bon appetit.
Yeah.
I like how Andy's down the line as well, just looking at this, ready for you to eat it. But I'm going to dive into this one as well. It must give you so much enjoyment, though, being able to produce stuff like this, that to watch people enjoy it. That's the thing, out of all that work that you do.
It's great when I get lovely feedback from people who post reviews on the website, and people like yourself who enjoy eating good quality meat. Really, it's great, and the feedback's been fantastic. You're getting excited
I haven't
there,
ever
Ollie.
seen him like this. I
It's
haven't.
great. Whoa.
Listen to that.
Oh, your face says it all.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I wish you all the very best of luck with it as well, but there we have it. Andy, everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you very much. Right,
It's a
Gordon's will be
pleasure.
cooking for us later on in the show, and I'll be treating Sir Bryn Terval to a dish of salt cod very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're heading off to Seville in Spain for another one of my favourite food adventures. They've got amazing pork. Not as good as this. Nowhere near as good as this. Welcome back. I'll be cooking for top classical singer Sir Bryn Terval very shortly, and Chef Galton Blackiston will be serving up a jumbo sole for us later on this morning. But before that, I'm leaving the Hampshire behind and heading south to enjoy some Spanish sun. This week, my travels are taking me to the amazing city of Seville, where I'm finding out how the city's world's famous oranges end up in the marmalade on our breakfast tables. Enjoy this one. My exploration of Seville in Andalusia has uncovered many culinary delights. And none more so than the famous Seville orange. Their trees are everywhere. In fact, I'm told there are about 40,000 of them in and around the city. I want to learn more about them, so I've come to the Ave Maria estate, 20 kilometres from Seville, to meet Jose and his sister, Rocio, whose family grow oranges to export across Europe. What this man doesn't know about oranges isn't worth knowing, so I can't wait to pick his brain. So tell me about why Seville and why here? What's so special about orange trees around here?
Well, right now we're in an area called Los Alcores, which is probably like 20 miles, 50 miles from the river. So the terrain is very porous. So
The soil is different colour here.
Yeah, exactly. The color is red, and that's the phosphorus. It's an earth that is really, really rich in phosphorus, and that gives the oranges a special sweetness. being Seville oranges, they also have some bitterness.
During the Seville orange season, which runs from November to February, Jose's family produces 500 tons of fruit, 65% of which comes to the UK. So what do you think it is about why the Brits love Seville oranges?
Well, I think in your culture, you always mixing all kinds of products. And you like the bitter, you like the sweet, you like, no?
So what brought it to the UK?
There used to be English miners working in Spain in the 19th century, and then they were loading all the products from the mines to the UK. And then one of the boats, supposedly, the story is that it was carrying these oranges. So actually, people in Dundee, up north, started making the marmalade. And it became something quite common in the UK.
Yeah.
Which the good thing is, like, since it has a lot of sugar, it lasts very long. So with the colonies, they were exporting this marmalade all over the colonies. So there was a big boom at the end of 19th century, early 20th century, where everybody was growing Seville oranges.
Speaking of marmalade, Sister Rocio has been whipping up a fresh batch with her family's own fruit. Her recipe calls for 1 kilo of oranges and 1 lemon, all juiced and boiled with water.
Importante, fuego muy lento.
Yeah.
Fuego muy lento.
Low
porque
temperature,
si
very
no,
low
se evapora
temperature.
Yeah.
Todo. Se va.
And you stir it once in a while.
Tell her she's doing great. So you reduce this down for 2 hours. The idea is that it reduces down and it
Claro.
strengthens the flavour. That's the key. The key to this is a lot of people think you add the sugar now. You don't add the sugar until later.
Una cosa importante, hay que mirar que esto esté blandito, ¿vale? Con el dedo.
The skin has got to be soft.
Tender, yeah.
Tiene que estar blandito.
Yeah.
Después, fuego muy fuerte, 2 kilos de azúcar, ¿vale?
2 kilos of sugar. That's 2 whole bags of sugar.
Sí.
Goes into this now after two and a bit hours.
Muy fuerte y mucha vuelta.
And then you bring
Mucha vuelta.
the temperature really up, and you have to be
De
stirring.
15 a 30 minutos.
From 15 to 30 minutes.
The key to it is when you add the sugar, really, because the amount of sugar that's going in there is 2 kilos. You need to keep mixing it, otherwise it will catch and burn on the bottom. But the crucial bit, take the marmalade out of the pot, you put it in a cold plate. When my grandmother used to do this, she said, when it looks like your granddad's forehead, because it had wrinkles in it, that's when it's ready. There, look. It goes all wrinkly. That's the true test of the marmalade.
Perfecta.
It's perfecta. She's good, huh? All that remains is to taste. Good?
Yeah.
Sí, Vic. Grande.
Look at me.
La cáscara. ¿Cómo se dice cáscara?
Skin.
Ahora esta.
It's fantastic.
¿Eh?
One taste isn't enough. Thank you.
A
Thank
ti.
you. That's delicious. Gracias.
A
Thank you.
vosotros.
It's a really beautiful city of Seville. I urge you, if you're ever in Spain, go visit it. It's spectacular, it really is. Right, I've got more fantastic food on the way from Torquay chef Simon Hulston, and Gol Blackiston will be serving up a dish of sole a little bit later on the show. But I'll see you after the break when we're chatting to singer Sir Bryn Terfel over a plate of sausage gnocchi, which tastes amazing. See you after the break. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be enjoying yet another stunning recipes from top chef Simon Hulston, and I'll be serving up an epic dish, a really epic dish this time, for Man vs. Food star Adam Richman very shortly. But first, I'm delighted to be joined in the house by a Welshman whose unbelievable voice has captivated audiences around the world for more than 30 years. It's the brilliant Sir Bryn Terfel. Now, it's a pleasure to have you on. Listen to that voice. Listen to that.
Food, glorious food.
Well, exactly. This. I know you love your food as well. You love your music, you love your food, but you love farming as well. So I thought, and the selection of dishes that you gave me to cook was just vast. So I thought, you love Italian food.
I do.
So I thought we'd do a variant of Italian food. We're going to do a little bit of gnocchi, so a little bit of Parmesan gnocchi. I'm going to do that with Italian sausages via Reading, these ones, via Butchers. And then I'm going to serve this with a little bit of chicken, roasted chicory to go with it as well. But I'm going to get the gnocchi on first of all. But I mentioned the fact of your love of food. Does that come from your upbringing on the farm?
Yes. Yeah, you're a farmer's son as well.
Yes, but you're a hard-working farmer. Well, all farmers are hard-working, but particularly sheep farming. Wow, I mean...
Yeah, my father is a great farmer. And that farm is clean. And, you know, he owns half a mountain, so he has to look after all the dry stone walls.
Yeah.
And that's me and my brother's life, really, on the farm.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we were given not the best jobs on the farm, and not to go to too much details.
Yes.
But I was one that loved to drive the tractors and have the trailers.
Same as me, really.
Yeah,
And
you'd be cooking in yours, I'd be singing in that tractor.
So tell me about Wales and music. Where's the history come? Is that it's what it's all about? The family? What?
Well, if I told you that on the farm itself, my dad has a fantastic voice. My mother also sings.
Right.
And she joined a female choir, so there was music in the farm all the time.
Right.
And this is what instigated my passion for music. There's also the element of the church, chapel,
Yeah.
where all the farms scattered around where we lived, all
Yeah.
the kids would come on a Sunday morning and meet and sing together and write
Yeah.
together, whatever. So,
But how was that growing up as a kid? Because I mean, you were into your rugby as well. You wanted? Do you want to be a rugby player, or was music that was your focus?
that's a good question, because I think that rugby and football and cricket and basketball was something that I used to hide, that I actually loved to sing as well.
Right.
But I was a pretty good sportsman, and I did well. I was a good
Yeah.
centre forward. Maybe the rugby team wasn't as good up in North Wales as they are in South Wales, but we gave it a try.
So then to go from that, because what a career you went on to have. But it was a big move for you quite early on in your career to then leave Wales behind, a place that you love so much.
Yeah.
Venture into the smoke, into London.
Yeah.
That must have been a quite a difficult time, but also a light moment in changing time for you, was it?
Huge, because we have a saying in Welsh, y filltir y sgwâr, the square mile.
Right.
And I was leaving the farm. I was leaving family, friends,
Yeah.
a girlfriend. I was leaving everything that I was accustomed to and comfortable with.
Yeah.
And going to London for my audition for the School of Music was the first time that I ever went into that city. But we have to have good teachers to show us the way around music in Wales. And they made sure that I did the right choices. So there was one music teacher that was instrumental in me actually saying, well, yes, I could do this.
Yeah.
So I learnt my 2 audition pieces, and I had to read one poem by Dylan Thomas, got into the college at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. On top of that, they offered me some money as well, which was great for my parents. They said, well, he's got a scholarship in London.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult to live in London as a student, to
Absolutely.
find a place to live.
Yeah.
And after the first 6 months where I was very sad and missed everything, but then I saw in London concerts, musicals, operas, and every evening, you know, I would be going out to see different performances, and I really threw myself into that 5 years.
Isn't it interesting, opera and operatic music? It's deemed as sort of a pigeonhole to people, but I always think there's people like Hans Zimmer that open it up in terms of to a wider audience. I remember watching Hannibal, the movie Hannibal.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where they're in this Italian sort of place, and this operatic. I remember crying.
Yeah.
Thinking, I know it's so daft, but it just hit you, and I thought, this is the most amazing song I think I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And I wasn't into it before then.
That was Danielle Denise, the soprano.
Do you know that?
And now she's married Gus Christie, who runs Glyndebourne Opera House.
So you know the one that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
But do you know what I mean? It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to an opera to fully understand it, but
No, but when I was in college, there's nothing to say that I would succeed, James. You know, I never won one competition in 4 years at the Guildhall.
yeah.
And then on the 5th year, I won what was at the Guildhall. It's called the gold medal.
Yeah.
And one of the opera singers from Wales, Sir Geraint Evans, I kind of always wanted to follow his tracks.
Right.
And when the gold medal came for me, it was the last competition, and I won it. And I thought, now then, I don't have to go back to the farm in North Wales.
But you still go back to the family world and love it as much as you ever. But what a career, what a journey you've had. Because you can look at all the places. I mean, globally, Carnegie Hall and all beyond that as well. But
Yeah, shocking.
then now you've then because you brought a new album out. This has been, what, 5 years? You've not brought out a new album for 5 years?
No, I haven't.
So why now? And why this one? I'm going to show you it in a minute. But sorry, this is a bit of gnocchi going in here, Bryn. So that's the gnocchi.
The gnocchi. The gnocchi is going
gnocchi
in.
and the sausages. A little bit of butter going in there. A little bit of colour.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a little sauce with the cream and the parmesan. We've got some sage over here, which is going to deep fat fry. That's going to go in there to get it nice and crispy. And I've got the radicchio in the oven over here. So why now and why this particular genre? Because this is very personal to you.
That's a great segue there, because I started singing in Wales when I was very young. And what starts you off on this journey is folk songs.
Yeah.
And I sang most of the folk songs that are on this album.
This is it, yeah.
From a very young age.
Yeah.
And somebody gave me the idea of, why don't you do a sea shanty? Sea song. It's kind of the TikTok era. Jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
You know, when the Wellerman came, soon may the Wellerman come to give us sugar and tea and rum. These are, you know, songs that were creating rhythms on ships. You know, it was hard work. They were singing these songs to forget what they were doing. And they were on their way home.
But to do that, but you're used to, I'm assuming you're used to doing it, and you've just come out of a big production, you know, an operatic production. To do that, you're probably in, what, 300-400 people in rehearsals.
Yeah.
Then this seems to be like, what, 4 or 5 musicians and you?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Totally the opposite.
I could, like you're cooking at home, I could record at home. I could take the kids to school. I could play around a golf if I wanted to. And I went up to Pentirch, which is a place where a little chapel has been redone into a recording studio and a concert venue.
Yeah.
So I had 5 glorious days there recording these shanties with 4 musicians. And then Sir Simon Keenlyside, one of my best mates in the operatic world, came to do A Drunken Sailor. Sting sang one song.
Just name-dropping just a few.
No, not name-dropping.
No, but it's just...
They're musicians. They're brilliant musicians. You know, if you put them all in one room, music is the common denominator, so...
Yeah. It's interesting because you were actually discussing off camera. You were discussing. You don't mind me saying. You've just been away recently. You're in the same hotel as Taylor Swift. So it's but completely opposite. The entourage that comes with it. And then you walk to work.
That was brilliant. I was in the same hotel in Buenos Aires. I was singing in the Teatro Colón, which, you know, by any yardstick is one of the most famous opera houses in the world, because Maria Callas, for instance, the famous soprano, sang there very often. I was there. It was the 3 Ts: Taylor Swift, Bryn Terfel, and Travis, her new boyfriend, caused the stir because he came to watch her there. And in the same hotel, I read about her and I saw that her grandmother was an opera singer. So there's always something to connect people.
It's still that love of music, isn't it, more than anything else?
Oh, it's fantastic. And how clever they are, you know?
Well, we were talking about your early career as well, because when you were brought up, it wasn't operatic music you were into. You took influences from Elvis, from Dire Straits, from, you know, Rolling Stones.
Yeah. They're the first group I saw playing in Chester on the ice rink.
Right.
And we had to dance, of course, because the carpet was very thin on the ice.
Right.
And Dire Straits came on, and Mark Knopfler. You know, looking back at it, James, maybe these were musicians that were very classically orientated anyway.
Well, it's very bluesy as well, isn't it? And all that, because they take their influences from all over the place.
Pink Floyd. Yeah. You know, and not that I'm dropping names again, but I did sing an opera that Roger Waters had composed about the French Revolution. So I got to go to 6 different places around the world to record this with him just sat by me. And he's a bit of a golfer as well. So we had some nice golfing outings and some great restaurants, may I add.
What a crew. We're going to talk later on the show as well, because I've just basically, to recap on here, I made a simple sauce. We've got some cream, I've got some Parmesan, a little bit of lemon zest in there, touch of parsley, and I've just put it in with the gnocchi, which we've got in here, with the sausage meat as well. That's going to go in there. And then I'm just going to finish this off with a little bit of bitterness. So do you see what I've got on the tray over here? I've just roasted this little bit of chicory off in the oven. You roast it with a little bit of olive oil, and then this is just going to sit there And these are just a nice little bit of textures that I'm going to put with it. It's good. This is, you know, normally you just have this in a salad, but you roast it off, get this amazing flavour, and then I've got some deep-fried sage as well. When you deep-fry it, it goes lovely and crisp.
Oh, yeah. And when you grow it in your garden, it just takes over the whole...
Well, now you know what to do with it. You just deep-fry it, but you take a little bit of this.
Lovely.
Over the top.
Did you put salt on that as well? Or just...
No, just as it is. A little bit of that, and then a tiny bit, just to finish this off, with a tiny little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Do you play an instrument?
I play the guitar. But I'm probably a better chef than I'm a guitarist, but we'll leave it at that. There we have it, my simple gnocchi with a little bit of Italian sausage, deep-fried sage, and a little bit of roasted chicory. Done.
Yay!
There you have it, chef. Dive into that.
Ooh, lovely.
Dive in. Tell me what you think. Taste it with the sausage and bits and pieces, but you get a little bit of sharpness with the chicory, bits and pieces. What do you reckon? Any good?
Oh, delicious.
Not bad? Good start? Good start. While you finish off that, let's have a listen to the main man in action. Enjoy this one. You got one ear listening to that and one look at... You like that?
It's so light.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And the sage is...
Yeah, sage is... It's just you get little bits of texture layers all the way in, but the sauce is just Parmesan cheese, a little bit of double cream and some lemon zest. That's all it is. Salt and pepper. Touch a little pasta water from making the gnocchi, but that's it. Easy as that. You're going to stick around? We're going to chat more about that later on the show, as well as your album as well.
Lovely.
There we go. Right, I'm going to be serving another cracking recipe for Adam Richman very shortly as well. But join us again after the break when we're handing over the hobs to the very talented Simon Hulston. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, Adam Richman from Man vs. Food. We'll be making his Saturday morning debut very shortly. And there's a masterclass in salad dressings coming your way a little bit later. But first, I'm here with Galton, and we're about to get ready for a classic dessert from the leading light of the southwest food scene. All the way from the Elephant in Torquay, it's the brilliant Simon Hulston.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you on the show, Chief, as well. So, it's a dessert for you.
Yeah. I like the pastry side of it.
Well, I know that as well, yeah.
So it's, you know, you're the same. That's where you sort of
But
like
this
mess
is
around.
a proper old-school classic. This is
it's a proper old-school English classic, yeah. It's one of those things that you don't really see anymore that we brought back over numerous times, and it's something that's brought me a lot of luck in competitions, and it's something that we can knock out pretty quick, really.
Yeah.
From
you mentioned... So what's the name of it?
So it's a tansy pudding.
Right.
So tansy is an old English herb. You see, it's still... It is, yeah. So you still see it growing on the hedgerows around the countryside.
Yeah.
But we don't tend to use the herb itself anymore. It's more medicinal.
Yeah.
So, but the name of the pudding has stayed. So over the years, it's just sort of disappeared as an edible as such.
Right. So it's like a tiny little seeds, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you ground this down or you dry it?
No. So
can I smell
so
it?
this is what we give to the customers. So we give them the seeds so they can grow the tansy at home.
Yeah.
And we've got the recipe in there as well. So
But do you use the flowers from it? Or?
We use only the leaves, only the green leaf.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got these lovely yellow bottom flowers on it. It smells fantastic.
Don't start eating these. These are seeds.
Yeah.
Right.
So for the dessert, it's very straightforward. It's a bread pudding in a sense. So we're using breadcrumbs, and then we've got cream, milk in there.
Well, a lot of
and
the
little bit
old-fashioned desserts are bread-based, aren't they?
Stodgy. It's all stodgy. It's English stodgy puddings, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's lovely flavour to it.
Yeah.
But we're going to add rose to it, and rose and lemon and ground almonds. So that's where it is now. So the tansy pudding is the name of it, but we're not using the tansy herb.
Now, the reason for this as well is, haven't all your kids named after herb?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So my eldest is called Tansy.
Yeah.
So she's the main pudding. And then we've got Cicely, Sweet Cicely, and Bethany, are my three daughters. But it's a like I said, it's a dish that we've done over many years. And my father did it in a competition, and he won. And then I've done it in competitions and won as well.
You mentioned this competition thing.
Yeah.
Because this is. Did you get your love of competing as a chef from your dad? Is that where it
I think it was, yeah. So we sort of went that route to start with as a chef, doing competitions and working in nice hotels.
And these are competitions that people don't know about. This isn't just competition that you do on a sort of, you know, village hall, that kind of... These are like worldwide competitions that you...
Yeah.
The food is incredible.
So there's a difference, you know. We can do the regional ones. We can do like nice local ones that we just cook a simple dish. But then you can go into the nationals and then the internationals where we're cooking against.
It's really serious.
Yeah, proper. Yeah.
And these competitions can go for hours and hours and hours.
Some of them go on for hours, and we're cooking for immense amounts of people.
So that's ground almonds.
So we've got ground almonds, breadcrumbs. We've got the egg and the sugar.
Yeah.
And then that's going to go in there with the butter. Is in.
So the butter's in there as well.
Yep. Yeah. So it's all melted through. So we're just breaking that down. This is how easy this is, really. So butter's just going to melt through.
Get rid of that for you.
Yeah, but some of the best things.
Some of the flaked almonds in there as well. And then we're going to put some rose petals in as well. So we just washed those, but we're just going to use the petal.
Do you use roses in cooking or not?
I haven't done this yet.
Right.
I must admit.
No?
It has quite a strong flavour, a unique flavour, doesn't
Well,
it?
particularly the rose water, because if you overdo it with this, it's just... This reminds me of my granny's bathroom, really. It can be quite severe, can't it, really, this sort of stuff? You've got to be careful.
Too intense, yeah. So, for me, I'm not a big fan of things like Turkish Delight because of the rose water.
Yeah.
But this just has a nice, subtle flavour to it.
I think subtlety is the way forward.
I think so, yeah. Calm down.
You were just going on about we don't use so much of that.
Look how much I'm making. So all in together, we get a nice stodgy mix there.
Yeah.
Flavours in there, rose water.
And that's one of the great things about these desserts is that it was like this because it was before machines, before any of that. They were just mixing it together.
That's it.
Before you had blenders and everything, it's just.
And you can utilise all your old breadcrumbs as well in there. So there's nothing really.
Do you want a ladle or something?
A spoon, yeah.
Spoon.
So into a buttered and sugared ramekin, and we're going to go 3/4 of the way up.
So was the self-raising flour or was it just plain flour?
There's no flour in there at all.
Oh, no, so just the almonds, wasn't it?
Yeah, just the ground almonds.
Breadcrumbs,
Yeah,
eggs.
breadcrumbs, eggs.
yeah.
Cream and butter.
Yeah, very straightforward. And we're just going to add a few almonds on the top just to make it...
Now, you're also cooking it in a little bain-marie, which is...
In a bain-marie, yeah.
Bring this over so you can just pop those in.
So that's just to keep the temperature level because we don't want it to bake too quickly.
Now, tell everybody about your restaurant as well, because you've been there a while now, down in Torquay. I've been there. I've been quite privileged to go there for a meal as well.
You have, yeah.
Beautiful location.
Stunning. Really, really right on the harbour side. Cooking simple food.
Is that what brought you down there, or is that what took you down there? Or
No, so again, it's another link with my father. He was down there as an executive chef of the big hotel.
Right.
And we moved down there as kids, and we just stayed there, really. I went and did my training all around the world, and then ended up back in Torquay. So I've just got some lemon juice and some lemon zest and a little bit of sugar in there, and that's going to come onto the pudding. So let's get those puddings out. So these are the ones that are baked, and we're just checking. They souffle up a little bit. We just pull them up from the sides.
How long do you cook those for?
About 16 to 18 minutes, not long at all.
Yeah.
Not long at all.
And the oven's about 160?
160.
Oh, I see.
See then, nice and there. A lovely little...
It's got like a unique texture on it, really.
It has. It's as close as you're going to get to a bread and butter pudding, really. But I think this was out before that. So let's go put some lovely bit of lemon on there. And then we're going to add a lovely clump of clotted cream.
And it's always, I mean, the great thing about this, you can make it beforehand and then you want to warm it up.
We can reheat it. You can make the mixture beforehand and just put it into your moulds.
Yeah.
It really, really works very well for it.
Look at that,
Clotted cream. You know, we're down in the southwest. It's got to be there. It's got to be there. And cream first, always.
Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Cream first. And then
tell us what you do with the rose petals.
So rose petals, again, very, very simple. Just whipped up a little bit of egg white, broke it down, added a little bit of rose water, dip them into it, dip them into sugar, leave them for a few hours, and they just crystallise, go nice and crunchy.
Just on their own, they
Yeah,
crystallise.
they just go nice and crunchy, and just adds a nice texture to it again. But like I said, super simple dish.
So give us the name of that.
So this is a tansy pudding, a rose and almond tansy pudding with clotted cream.
How good was that?
Yeah.
Easy as that. Simon, everybody. Chefy,
Yes.
bon appetit.
Proper pudding.
Proper pudding. Look at this. Look at
Yeah.
this. Texture of it's great, isn't it?
Unctuous. Not too
It's
much
really
rose.
light, isn't it?
Really light.
No, not too much rose. Lemon is lovely in it as well.
Really light though as well.
Yeah. Cheers.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's a nice go-to dessert. Yeah.
It is really, really clever as well. And like you said, you could mix and match the different spices in there if you want to
Yeah.
spice it up.
So we can use gingerbread instead of a normal bread. You can add apple. You can put chocolate powder for it, whatever. It'll work for anything. Yeah, it really
good
holds
is that?
well.
Easy as that. Simon, everybody. Cracking that, chef. Right, Galton will be cooking for us a little bit later. What have you got on the menu?
I'm doing a Dover sole.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
With?
Norfolk asparagus, Jersey Royals. Can't remember. Oh, champagne sauce.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
There you go. Now we're showing you some brilliant ideas with salad dressings for this week's Little Masterclass while he rewrites his recipe and learns it. Join us again after the break when we're serving a legendary sandwich for Man vs. Food star Adam Richman. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's massive. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be showing you some top tips for making amazing salad dressings in this week's Little Masterclass. And I've got more food on the way from the genius chef, Mr. Galton Blackiston, a little bit later. But first, I'm here with the presenter whose series Man vs. Food made him a star all over the world. Who hasn't seen that one? Well, now he's here in the UK and he's eating his way around Britain on the latest series that he's filming. It's Adam Richman! Good to have you on, pal. Good to have you on. I didn't know. I was thinking, what on earth are going to cook you? Because you've eaten some amazing food and some serious food in your life.
I have indeed.
So I thought I'd show you my full-on version, the dish that we get more hits for and more complaints about ever when I cook this.
Oh my gosh.
This is a sandwich, but like no other. We're going to do my ultimate bacon sandwich.
I love it.
So bacon, cheese, bechamel, ham, fully loaded, full-size sandwich like this. We're going to start with a kilo of pancetta or sort of dry cured bacon. I'm going to fry it all off. So first of all, let me go back first of all for you. You were brought up in Brooklyn.
I am.
Brought up in Brooklyn, surrounded by food, of course, in Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
You can't go anywhere in New York without food on every corner. Amazing place to be brought up with
100%.
food. But sort of a mixed family as well, from different areas of the world as well. Italian.
Oh, sure. No Italian. It's just, don't let the sort of chest hair and pompadour fool you. No, but I mean, so we're largely Central and Western European, so Russian, Polish, and English. Actually,
Right.
my great-granddad William was from Leeds.
From Leeds. All the great
Fellow
things comes
Yorkshire.
from Leeds, you see, Adam? Yeah.
Exactly right. But the thing is, I lived in a neighborhood that was like predominantly first-generation immigrants. So I was having eggplant caponata at a Sicilian family across the street, or colcannon or boxty at the Irish family next to us, or the Syrian family making kibbeh or shawarma. And my dad's law office was in Chinatown. And my dad instilled in me this ethos of you don't have to finish it, but you got to at least try it. And there was like a language to food that I quite loved. And I
Well,
think
you've
I still do.
certainly done that in your life, haven't you, really? But food was an integral part of your life, but your love of acting was first.
I think it was part and parcel, but yeah, for sure. I mean, I was always acting, but what a great industry with which to support yourself than hospitality. I mean,
You end up working in a lot of restaurants, don't you?
Exactly right. I mean, if you're not waiting tables, you're in the kitchen. But that's the other thing, too, right? Like, in fact, I was in a hotel restaurant in Rovinj, Croatia, and the chef de cuisine actually talked about his crew like the cast and the crew of a play.
Right.
Like, I'm the director, we have an orchestra conductor, so your garde à manger, maybe your, like, composer or your lyricist, and like there was this really kind of beautiful synergy. But yeah, I went to Yale Drama for acting and supported myself culinarily, and now found a way to sort of create a synthesis.
And when was the break for you? Because it's quite an interesting story, really. You went for an audition. You found out that somebody else, I believe, I may have read this right, but you found out somebody else was going to get the job before you, possibly.
It was actually, as far as I know, Man vs. Food was initially meant for someone else.
Right.
I had done commercials, a couple soap operas, quite a few plays, and then I auditioned, and they told us to bring in a food, and I came in, and I've been keeping a food journal since about '95 of places that I had eaten around the country. So when they said, well, where do you like eating around the country? And kind of arrogantly, I said, well, pick a region. And she said the Midwest, not expecting a guy from Brooklyn to know anything.
Yeah.
And having an answer, and yeah, I mean, I got the job.
Did a T-shirt get you the job as well?
My admiration of your
I do my
culinary
research.
prowess and your automobile both prowess and collection is nothing to my appreciation of your research. Yeah, I was super duper broke, and I found out that my final screen test was at Katz's Deli, and their sandwiches can be kind of pricey. But what I did do was I bought one of their T-shirts. I interviewed everyone in back of house, people curing it. God, that smells so good. Yeah. And I mean, it's bacon, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, I bought this T-shirt. I cut the neck out, and I spent $5 to over-launder it. And when you're broke, $5 is so, I mean, the exchange rate's probably in your favor for that one.
Yeah.
And at the very end of my audition, after this kind of intro to Katz's Deli, I unzipped my hoodie, and I said, if you think that I'm just reading this off cue cards or if I'm a big fan, I unzipped my hoodie, and I said, this is my T-shirt, big fan. And ironically enough, the show was supposed to be called Pig Out, but my final screen test was on Valentine's Day of 2008. And I said, this is a new Valentine's Day massacre in the Lower East Side. This is Man versus Food. And food, it ain't your day. And they're like, oh, hang on a minute. What was that? Although I love that you lot here say Man v Food, which I think is
exactly
adds a lot more elan.
But I've been to the States as well. I mean, that whole eating competition, it's rife across America. I remember coming out of the restaurant, and there was about 500-600 people sat around watching this sort of what looked like a trailer with people on it, and they were just stuffing themselves full of bits and pieces to win like $100. It was, I mean, completely insane as a Brit looking at it, going, what? But it's never really happened as a TV program. And then all of a sudden, for you, it kicked off. It went crazy.
It did. I think, ultimately, if you watch every show, there's a statistic. We would go, 100 people have tried it, and 80 people have failed, or that kind of thing. But it's the idea that it's kind of like hunting the white whale. And the truth of the matter is, not everybody can play athletes at this high level, or not everybody is doing combat sports, but there's this kind of bravura and a type of competition that, I mean, we all like to eat, and I think under the right circumstances, we all can eat quite a bit.
But some of the dishes that you went on to, so with cheese going in here, we're going to melt this down as well. So, but some of the dishes that you went on to eat almost straight away, was the first one a burger the size of a bar stool?
Yes,
that
correct.
kind of stuff?
That was correct. That was the pilot in Memphis, Tennessee. And
You've never done anything like this before?
At all. That was literally the trial by fire.
What did your doctor say to this before?
So this is actually the true story. So I was working in television myself for Madison Square Garden Television the day of my final screen test, the one with the T-shirt that you just mentioned. And I had just gone through the whole thing, gotten the job. It was supposed to be my first day, and they made me eat a double Reuben with fries and 2 sodas in a half hour. And I called my direct, report, and I said, Kyle, is it possible if I start tomorrow? He said, why? And I said, I just ate a whole bunch of food for an audition. He's like, I've never heard gluttony used as an excuse to get out of work before. I know you're being honest.
But
then
you went on the chili eating competition is hard enough.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I saw in the States as well. But
yes.
The one that sort of made me cringe was this oysters.
Yeah.
180 oysters you ate?
Yes, 15
in a
dozen.
sitting.
Yes. And I'll never forget this. I had a really rough breakup, and I was in New Orleans, and I met a girl. We were just talking, and a guy walks by, goes, careful, girl, he just had 180 oysters. I'm like, come on, can I catch a break? But yeah, it put me off oysters for quite a while. Shout out to Chef Carrie Savona in New Haven. Made the first oyster I had after that. Almost nearly 2 years later, he did this thing with a Campari gelée. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you brought me round, buddy. You brought me round.
And now, of course, now you're venturing... basically, I'm going to take this sauce now, but look, this is where you fill in each of the gaps.
Whoa, like a Hasselbeck.
Yeah, like a Hasselback. And then we're going to stuff that with the bacon and the ham and everything else. But this is the cheese. Everything always melts into it anyway. But we take this, each one we go, all in here. But you're venturing around the UK now. So tell everybody about this then, because this is great.
So, yes, so the new show's called Adam Richman Eats Britain, and I am a self-confessed Anglophile. I am a shareholder in a football club. I sponsor another football club.
Because you're near Grimsby.
Yeah, I bought shares in Grimsby, and I sponsored
How did that come
Broadley
about?
FC. So I was finishing my very first press tour for Man vs. Food in the UK. I'm on my flight home, and this guy recognizes me, and we're talking. I said, who's your club? And he said, you probably never heard of them. And he begins telling me the story of Grimsby, about Ivano Benetti getting his nose broken by a plate of chicken wings, about, you know, how old people in town remember where they were when Grimsby beat Shankly's Liverpool. I just loved it. And I guess also because I'm allergic to trophies, I also support my beloved Tottenham Hotspur.
So we're going to take this sauce...
Holy hell, man.
Well, even you saying that, this is the cheese sauce over the top.
What I really like about it is that it's kosher.
Exactly. We just take a nice little bit of cheese over the top of the...
So the network will kill me, so the show's called Adam Richman Eats Britain.
But do you know, Adam, what really pushes people over the top? You take the fat from the bacon, and that goes over the top of there. Just a nice little bit of flavouring.
Do you have a defibrillator here?
There is. And right at this moment now, you wrap it up, you need to phone A&E, because it needs to go in the oven for about 20 minutes, roasted, and then we're going to chop it with a bit of parsley, so it's OK.
Oh, there is vegetables. OK, it cancels it out.
Whereabouts are you visiting in the UK, then? Where?
So the whole purpose, the whole like kind of trajectory of Adam Richman Eats Britain is simply this. To me, and I say this as an American, I think British food is and this current sandwich is no exception. I think
people are watching around the world. This is not all what we like.
Not indicative. No, and that's exactly my point. I think British food's and very often unfairly maligned, and the show ultimately at its core is truly my love letter to Britain, but also I think that people don't realize that some of the most iconic chefs the world over bear the names of places in Britain that they come from. And I think there is something about using that as a point of departure that's kind of cool, to have a sandwich and sandwich, or cheddar and cheddar, or a Melton Mowbray pie, Melton Mowbray, Aberdeen Angus and Aberdeen. But then
Yorkshire pudding in Yorkshire?
Bing bong.
Please tell me you tried Yorkshire brack. The tea cake made with tea.
I had a parkin. I had a Yorkshire parkin.
Yeah, well, I've got to send you some Yorkshire brack.
Brack? Is it CK or the Q? Like
I'm dyslexic. Got no idea, but I pronounce it
fair enough. Fair enough. A pox upon me for asking. Yorkshire brack.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
But I would love to. And like that too is another thing. Like hearing the accents change from place to place. So all of a sudden, you know, I'm there in Cheddar, and it's like, I like my cider, and this is my tratter, and welcome to my farm. And there's this whole other thing. And then to go and hear something different in Leicester, and to see... So, for example, like I never knew that Leicester, for example, had the second largest Diwali celebration next to Southeast Asia. And to have these wonderful curries with this depth of flavor, or to go to a place like Vovum in Aberdeen and see how they're using an Argentinian parrilla and they're reinterpreting Scottish dishes there, or going, you know, and having...
And now you're in the area of Jane Austen, King Alfred, and a proper toasted bacon and ham sandwich. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Le Sandwich. Right, you get to dive into this. And while you figure out which way you're going to start, middle or to the end, or one end to the other, let's have a look at the main man in action.
All right, do it. And with that hunk, this cauldron of vanilla fudge is tipped onto a marble slab so that it will cool and thicken.
There we go.
Oh, it's like Hollywood. Let me put my handprints in it. I'm not going to touch it. Before the bars are removed, it's so satisfying. And the fun really begins.
What we're going to do is we're going to use about half of the tool. Just push it all the way up as far as you can. and then just fold it back on itself. Did you want to have a go?
So it's...
Yeah, and then flip it, and then drag it back. That's perfect.
That's really, really groovy.
Yeah. So this is 500 grams of dark chocolate. Now we loaf it. So this bit, we just fold the fudge in on itself, and the residual heat is going to melt the chocolate through.
Okay, we got a bleeder. We got a bleeder.
Oh, no.
I have no tool.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I have no tool,
I'll speed
people.
up.
Oh, hallelujah.
I saved the day. It's
Hallelujah.
fine.
Wow. You were like the Rock in a disaster film right there.
All right.
I don't... I'm gonna need a little bit of time and maybe like some coffee, but I'm gonna do it. It's delicious,
He's
Chef.
going to do it. Well, while you're doing that, we'll take a quick break. I'll be treating Adam and Bryn to steak and peppercorn sauce. That's your main course.
Oh, this is starter?
No, that's called an amuse-bouche.
My bouche is highly amused.
Exactly.
It's the rest of me I don't know about.
And we're handing over the hobs to Mr. Gordon Blackiston very shortly. You see it after the break. Welcome back. Now, Chef Galton Blackiston will be whipping up a plate of jumbo sole in just a bit, and I'll be treating my guests, Sir Bryn Turnbull and Adam Richman, to a final course of steak and peppercorn sauce at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's masterclass, and I thought I'd share with you this week some brilliant recipes for salad dressings that you definitely want to try at home this spring or summer. So we're going to do basically 5 different salad dressings quite quickly. We're going to do a classic vinaigrette, first of all. So 2 oil-based ones. Classic French vinaigrette. The French vinaigrette contains vegetable oil. You can use grapeseed oil, but you would stay well away from things like olive oil. We're not going to use it for this one. So vegetable oil, a little bit of white wine vinegar. You can use cider vinegar, but it mustn't be malt vinegar. So it's got to be white wine vinegar and a touch of Dijon mustard and a little bit of water. And we start off by that. And you can serve it on a variety of different things. I'm going to use a little bit of asparagus. And I've got some blanched asparagus over here. And I've got some cooked beans, some French beans, and we're just basically just going to pop them straight onto the barbecue like that. Show how easy it is for you to do this summer. A little bit of oil over the top so you get a touch of flame. That's that one. So when you're creating this sort of little simple dressing, we want a teaspoon of, a good heaped teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Then it's 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. Now you can measure this out if you want, but this isn't my first rodeo, so we can just pop that in. But it's 1 part vinegar, 3 parts oil. Mix that together like that. And you just get a whisk and combine that together. Now, you'll also see in here, as I'm combining it together, it actually splits and separates. So a bit of salt and pepper. And when it splits and separates, this is the oil that separates from the vinegar. So a little bit more oil in here. But you can see it's actually separated. To get a creamy dressing, you add a little bit of water. Mix that together. There, it instantly goes this creamy French-style dressing. And I don't know why people buy this from a supermarket. You've just made it in seconds. But look, easy as that to do a little sort of French dressing. Now, you can serve it, like I said, over the top of some warm vegetables and stuff like that, over the top of salad. It's wonderful. The great thing about this, it actually lasts. So once you've made it, you can just keep it in the fridge. You can keep it in a container and utilise it whenever you want. But by warming up the vegetables like that, it's sort of perfect for this time of year as well. Asparagus starting to come into season. Bit of that, some of the French beans, and you've got a lovely little sort of warm salad. So you take that lovely French dressing, and when you utilise this, don't soak it. It shouldn't sort of sit and soak in the dressing. Just a little bit like that, so it all mixes in. But that's your classic French-style dressing. So that's one. The next one we're going to serve with some lovely tomatoes. And for this, I'm just going to chop these tomatoes up in a bowl, because this is great. We take the sort of tomatoes that we've got on here. Now, tomatoes, really, don't put them in the fridge if you can help it, because it's weird. Chefs call it actually tastes of fridge. You can actually taste the chill from the tomatoes. So when you're serving tomatoes for a salad, particularly like this, room temperature is the key, because you get much more of the sweetness of the tomatoes as well. Now, if you wanted to with the tomatoes, you can take these and add a little bit of sugar, some brown sugar over the top. But I'm going to do that classic sort of balsamic vinegar dressing. Again, it's the right ingredients for this one. It may appear quite simple, but you just take a touch of salt over the top of the tomatoes, a little bit of black pepper, like I said, a little bit of demerara sugar if you wanted to over the top. We'll just lift it again. But for this one, we're going to grab a combination of balsamic vinegar and oil. Now, balsamic vinegar, usually on the bottle, it will tell you an age, and balsamic can age from a year to 30, 40 years in the barrel. And the longer it's in the barrel, the texture and the flavour changes of balsamic vinegar. It gets thicker, but it also gets more rounded in flavour and less vinegary. It sounds really weird. It becomes much more rounded and more of a sort of an ingredient that you just want to taste rather than put into dressings and everything. It's usually sprinkled over the top of ice cream, anything that's usually 5 or 8 years old. It's very specialised vinegar. But for this one, I can actually, look, you can see the texture of it. It's almost like treacle, and the taste is much more rounded. For that, we don't use vegetable oil for this one. Use really good extra virgin olive oil. So extra virgin olive oil is the best. So for this, I like to use half and half because I like the flavour of the balsamic to come out. So mix that up in a bowl, like that. Remember, you've already seasoned the tomatoes as well, like that. And we just take a nice little dressing over the top. For this one, you can be quite generous with it as well, like that. Wonderful, that. It's really, really simple. So half and half with good balsamic. If it's not so good balsamic and when you taste it, it's quite vinegary, just go to the 1/3 mixture, the vinegar and the oil mixture. So what I'm going to do now is do 3 sort of cream dressings, as I call it, mayonnaise-based dressings. We're then going to make our simple little mayonnaise. We've got some egg yolks over here. I've got some Dijon mustard, a good dollop. And we're going to pop that into there, pop the machine on. So we're going to start off making this little mayonnaise. Now, mayonnaise is always made with vegetable oil, really. That's how I was taught to do it in France, and that's how I've always done it ever since then. And vegetable oil is the best way to make mayonnaise, because mayonnaise should be lighter in colour. So the colour denotes from the egg yolks as well. If you use the really, really dark egg yolks, you'll get a sort of a yellowy mayonnaise. But what you want to do is just emulsify this into here. Now, I'm going to use this dressing to make 3 dressings, well, 2 dressings from it as well. I'm going to do classic Mary Rose. I'm going to do a blue cheese dressing. And then I'm going to do another one with ranch dressing, which doesn't use mayonnaise as its base. You can do. I'm going to use a little bit, but predominantly it uses buttermilk. But we gradually pour this in. If you add it too quickly, this will separate and split. And then you've got to actually start it again. Decant the mixture out, put 2 more egg yolks in, and then pour the split mixture gradually into the more egg yolks. But what I want to do is just carefully, just keep adding the oil, and it will start to thicken. It's very, very simple to make mayonnaise, especially when you've got a machine like this. It tastes so much different than the bought-in stuff. So again, you can see the mixture starting to thicken up in the machine. We can then speed up the oil going in. Now, it's interesting that you'll see all this oil will just go into this egg yolks. It's amazing how much oil is in mayonnaise. So we can almost it's almost added that entire bottle of oil. And then we can separate this out. So to do a classic Mary Rose, we're then just going to grab yourself some mayonnaise, like that. And then I use a combination of ingredients over here. So ketchup. So ketchup, touch of brandy, just a little bit. Brandy over the top. And then some Henderson's or Worcester sauce. That goes in there. A little bit of cayenne to give it a little kick. Or some Tabasco. In fact, I like to add a little bit of both. Touch of that in there. And remember to add some salt and pepper. Touch of that. And mix this together. And there you have your classic Mary Rose sauce, which your addition of a few prawns, you've got an amazing little dressing there. You can serve that on the side, obviously on the top. It's entirely up to you, but one that's really, really simple. And then grab yourself a plate and move this to one side. Get yourself some lettuce. Open this all up. And then a few of these shrimp over the top. And then you pour this lovely creamy dressing over the top. It's one that's really simple to make, especially once you're master the art of making mayonnaise. You can make so many different dressings from this as well, and ones that are absolutely delicious. But there you have your little Mary Rose sauce to go with your shrimp. Another one you can do, sort of a mayonnaise base, is this. A nice little blue cheese one. This one is epic. Really, really simple. I've got some Santagur cheese over here. So we're going to use the mayonnaise that's in here. The Santagur cheese, we're going to pop that in there as well, like that. In we go with some creme fraiche. Good full-fat creme fraiche. That's going to go in, like that. And this is where you can add some herbs if you want. If you want to add some bit of parsley, it's entirely up to you. But a few bits of herbs, they can go in. And again, a nice little bit of background sort of flavour. A little bit of hendo's in there, and a touch of Tabasco. A good whack of that. Salt and pepper, like this. Some salt and pepper over the top, blend it. By blending it, you'll get this lovely creamy blue cheese dressing that's brilliant as sort of, if you want to serve it with crudités, that kind of just some raw veg over the top of salad, it's entirely up to you, but keep that going. And you can get, I love it with this, chicory as well, but you just break this all up, because I love the bitterness of the leaves with this. And then you could have this with sort of walnuts, pecan, that kind of stuff, crispy bacon. So this is the creamy one. Like I said, you could serve this salad as it is. This with some crispy bacon and croutons, that kind of stuff. But look, you've got this lovely, creamy, rich blue cheese dressing. This is just epic as well. It's up to you whether you want to put herbs in it, but that is just wonderful. It really, really is. That's another one. And then one final one, really, one that's perfect for this time of the year, I suppose, is a simple little ranch dressing. The ranch dressing requires you to take some onion. And what I do with this one is make sure it's really, really finely diced. Now, you can do this in a machine. So if you've got a machine like this, you can pop the onions in and just blend them all up. But I'm just going to thinly and finely chop the onions. And we're going to use this as a little base for our ranch. So a little bit of chopped onion in here. And then grab yourself a bowl. And grab that. And in our ranch, we've got a few things. I like to use a little bit of English mustard for this, but it's quite strong, so just go easy on it as well. If you don't like the heat, then stay away from the little bit of cayenne that I'm going to add, and then maybe use a little bit of Dijon instead of English. I've got two different types of salt over here. I've got onion salt, I've got garlic salt. We take a little good pinch of each in there, like that. Touch of that. It's very, very simple to make your own ranch. A bit of garlic. This is a little bit of puree garlic. You can buy this in little tubes now. It saves you a lot of hassle in the supermarkets. Touch of lemon. A good squeeze of that in there as well. But then instead of a mayonnaise at its base, we use buttermilk. And all you want to do is just take the buttermilk and pop that in. Mix that all together, and then this is where I add some herbs. So you can load this up with some dill, you can load it up with some mint, you can load it up with some parsley, and chop the whole lot up and pop it in the dressing. You can be quite roughly chopped with this as well, but that's going to go into our mix as well. Because I find if you blend it all up, the whole thing just turns green. But you're going to take this lovely little ranch, a little bit more of that. Salt and pepper, remember. Bit of seasoning. Black pepper. And then take another plate over here. And this, you can load it full of leaves. Again, nice and simple. Over the top. Bit of that one. But this is lovely, whether you serve it with like chicken, grilled on a barbecue, stuff like that. Just nice leaves like this, and you take this simple little ranch over the top. Easy as that. But there you have sort of 5 different dressings for you this summer and spring that are so easy to use. But above all else, super, super tasty. Easy as that. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about Little Miles Castle, do get in touch. We see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join us again in a couple of minutes. We'll be joining another recipe from my old mate, Galton Blackiston. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be laying on lunch for steak for my guests Bryn Turville and Adam Richmond very shortly. But first, I'm here with Simon. And everybody here and at ITV are a bit nervous because it's 4 hours until the Grand National starts, and this next chef is going to have to cook faster than he's ever cooked before on this show just to get finished on time. It's Galton Blackiston. Good to have you back, Chiefy. What are you going to be doing then?
Well, I'm going to cook this beast. This lovely Dover sole.
This is the biggest portion you've ever cooked.
I know. I am a bit worried about it because that doesn't look as though that'll go in there, but we'll trim it up and have a go.
It'll go. So you're going to do that with what?
I'm just literally serving it with the most beautiful spring vegetables. So I've got Jersey Royals here, cooked in a little bit of mint, potato and seasoning. Norfolk asparagus, which is the best.
And
peas,
some wild garlic,
wild peas. Wild garlic from Morston Hall Garden.
OK. So I know you want to get the fish on first of all. I'm going to show how to get to the bit where you are there.
Yeah, you can do that.
So do you want to take that fish?
Yeah, pop it on here, please.
You want it on the flour, don't you?
Yes, I am, but I'm trimming it up. Can you just take the tail off it? Up to about there.
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 Can you get that so it's not too hot? I don't want to colour it immediately. I've got my oven set at 200 degrees.
Do you want me to put it in the flour?
Thank you. Now I'll deal with it.
Right, OK.
Thank you.
So I'll then take a Dover sole. Dover sole's amazing. You can tell the Dover sole's through a place because the shape of it is like a rugby ball. It's beautiful, beautiful fish.
Beautiful.
I think this as well. So that's going to go. You want that in not too hot a pan?
Yeah,
I suppose.
not too hot. Let it get a light colouring. You don't have to flour it if you don't want to, but I think it's sort of...
Just adds to the colour, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Whilst that's colouring on there, you will need to pop this in the oven, I would have said. It'll probably take about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Size.
Yeah. And you cook it in the pan because you keep the heat in it, don't you?
Yeah.
So congratulations in order, because you retained your Michelin star for... You've had it, what, 19 years?
19 years we've had.
Yeah. 25.
25.
25 years.
It's all right.
Not bad, is it?
I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, everybody who works at, has and still works at Morston Hall has contributed. It's quite an achievement.
There's a lot of bodies gone through the kitchen, haven't there?
Yeah, there have. A lot of bodies gone through everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's tough times now as well. So it's a testament to hard work and a love of what you do.
We're the old boys now.
Yeah, we are. We are. Yeah.
Speak for yourselves. Right. But look, you're bringing that... So this is where you want to peel it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Happy with that?
Perfect.
Do you want to take that and put it in the oven for you?
Yeah, go on then.
So straight in the oven. 200 degrees, something like that. Like I said, for about probably 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
perfect.
over here,
Thank you.
put your pan on there.
Touch of oil in the pan.
There we go.
And this is for the sauce.
OK.
I actually think the sauce is the most important thing of anything that you do. You either make or break your dish by the strength or weakness of your sauce. You don't overpower anything.
Can I just stop you a second?
Go on.
Because people want to see this, don't they?
Yeah, go on then.
Take the skin off. So you use a cloth for this, hold the fish down, and you just pull the skin straight off. Like that, and give it to somebody else to do.
Yeah.
It's a
So
lot
you
easier.
don't get messed up.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
But you've got to have the fish absolutely fresh as, haven't you, really?
Yeah, you're doing that all right. Bless you.
Doing that all right?
Yeah.
Over the top of there. Like that.
Perfect.
Oops, sorry, got it in your chest. Sorry.
All over it.
Bit of that. And then we just...
That was what I wanted to avoid. So what does he do? OK, so soften your vegetables on there. We do a fair bit of sole at number 1 in Cromer as well.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Beautiful piece of fish, lovely. All right. Next, right, so you got the sauce on?
Yeah. So they're softening. Then can you open that, Simon?
Yep. You haven't shaken up already, have you?
You can, yeah. That's why I'm getting you to do it. Yeah. I don't trust him. No,
so this is for the sauce.
Yeah.
So recap what you got in the pan.
So I've got shallots, mushrooms, a little bit of carrot. Carrot isn't classically what you'd put in the sauce, but I quite like it. It gives it a depth of colour. a little bit of flavour. But this is...
This is your fizz?
Yeah, and it's proper champagne.
And you put it in there?
Yeah, go on.
Tell me when.
That'll do. Perfect. Reduce that down. Yeah, it's a bit of a... some people would say that it's a bit of a waste to use champagne on the basis of the sauce, but you actually finish it off with a bit more champagne, so you freshen it up, actually.
So we
you don't have to use that.
We were having a little debate as well before we started about your Jersey roll potatoes that are in here.
Yeah, these
the
are
eagle eye
lovely.
viewers in the pan will see that half have been scratted.
What do you mean scratted?
Well, you
What's that
scratted,
word?
so you...
Scraped?
Yeah, well, you take...
Is that a Yorkshire word, scratted?
Yeah, because those are your version. This
Yeah.
is how I would have them, like that. I would have them like that. You scrape them.
Yes, everybody scrapes a new potato.
No.
I can't get what's in your heads, you two.
No, I don't get it.
What? You'd leave all the dirt and muck on it?
I don't wash your dirt off. I don't scrape it down. It's a waste,
Look at it.
waste
Look
of
at the
job,
difference
isn't
between that and that.
That just looks like a tin.
it? Yeah.
No, it's properly done.
So it's bruised.
No, trust me, that's properly done. I've added a little bit of fish stock to this. You could, if you didn't have fish stock, you could add vegetable stock or you could add chicken stock.
Okay.
White chicken.
Right, that's that
Let
one then.
that reduce down a little
So
bit.
tell us about the asparagus then.
Yeah, so this is Norfolk asparagus. I think it's the best, but you'll probably disagree. Like
Everybody thinks.
Well,
Can I try one then?
come.
There's a dirty one here if you want it.
No, forget it. Right, so all I'm doing with this, you
What
don't
have you
to
done with this?
Yeah, I've just made it look a bit prettier,
How
that's
have you done
all.
that?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Just like so.
You scrape that down, though, as well.
Pardon?
You scrape the asparagus down as well.
Yeah, a bit. Do you not?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so you do mess about sometimes. So you go around with a knife like that.
Yeah.
You just make it look
Why are you doing
a
that?
little bit more presentable. Because it's all about the aesthetics of how it looks.
Right.
You don't have to do this, of course you don't. You wouldn't do it, and I
No.
wouldn't do it at home. But if people are paying money for it, I'll have it looking good.
Right.
All right? But a little turning knife is good for that. I can't believe that you don't scrape a new potato.
No, never have.
Right, this is now perfect.
So,
Okay.
you mentioned the fact that the fish and chip shop. Fish and chip shop's still going strong? You're about to hit the summer, I
I
suppose.
have to say, out of all businesses, the fish and chip shop makes you smile. It really does. We are all going and have been going through quite tough times. Really, I can't emphasise that enough. You know, everything's gone up. And it's a struggle. It's a slog, isn't it? Would you say?
It's making it harder for us, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's...
But you've got to make the best of it.
Absolutely.
OK, so reduce that down. You perhaps would take a little bit longer to reduce that down a bit.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
new potatoes are done. Perfect. Looking
So
really
the fish,
good.
once it's in the oven, you don't even need to touch it?
I wouldn't touch that until... You can just touch it to see whether it's cooked or not.
You want me to do that?
I don't think it's cooked just yet, do you?
I'll just touch it and find out.
Carrots. You always put carrots in your fish sauces.
No, I did say that.
Right.
I just like the bit more depth of colour about it, OK? This is the one thing that I have in common with James about... I do like a little bit of butter in my new potatoes.
Yeah.
So in another pan, we'll just cook these off. That was lucky.
You're doing this in just butter and water?
Yeah, butter and water emulsion. Go for it. That will do.
Stuff there. So the idea is you're reducing this down to intensify the flavour.
Of course. Yeah. Everything, that's what kitchens do. We just reduce and reduce, and we sieve and we pass and we mess about, basically. Well, it sounds to me as though you two don't.
Right. Okay. This is your sauce.
Yeah. Lovely.
Do you want to... Can I just...
What do you want to do?
I'm
Press
just going
it.
to pass that. Give you the pan, so then you can put the sieve on there. It doesn't go all over my
right.
kitchen. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
So, have the chives at the ready.
Yeah. This is going really well, isn't it?
Shut up. It's all right.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It's going really well. Can you just chuck in a handful of that wild garlic, please?
Yeah. This is from your garden.
Yep.
Right. So tell everybody about Morstan Hall then.
Yeah, Morstan Hall is
You got
my
rooms?
life. It's my life. It's 13 bedrooms.
There you go.
And it's looking really good. I put a bar in. After 32 years, I put a bar in. And that's changed the aesthetics of the hall. So, we were doing cocktails. The mess was going everywhere in the back of where they used to do them.
I'll take it out. I'll take it out.
Cool. Oh, you don't want me to use that one,
No,
do you?
I'll take it out. That's a short tea towel.
All right. I'll put that over there. Perfect.
Happy with that?
Yeah, perfect. And so we've put a bar in, and people are coming down early just to have drinks and things like that, and cocktails, and staying later as well. And even I like a cocktail now, and I'm one of the most traditional people you could ever wish to see, but I do like a cocktail. That looks stunning. Right, so the chives get added to this.
Can I just... I'm really excited for you, to be honest with you.
What do you mean?
Well, this is the first time it's happened in 19 years of knowing you.
I've always cooked all right on this brilliant programme. If I get left to do what I know what I'm doing, I'm all right.
Right, OK.
OK, so we're just about...
A bit like the National, you're on the final 2 hurdles, don't mess it up.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So I
keep up the pace, keep up the pace, keep up the pace.
Shut up. I'll put the sauce over the fish at the last minute, or shall I serve it in a jug? I don't know.
I'll just stand and watch, it's great. What do you want to do?
You can put this...
You want me to put it on?
You can put the asparagus down one side.
You want me to do that?
Yes, please.
Well, I might as well, because I've plated up everything else, but I'll do that.
These little new potatoes are brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
I find it better when you leave them just...
No, they're not. I would love to know the results of a debate on that, because I actually think the general public would say that most new potatoes, you give them a quick scrape.
No.
Apart from if you're in Torquay or if you're in Hampshire. Maybe it hasn't got down to there.
You don't need to on jerseys, though. Their skin just...
I understand what you're saying, but if they're dirty, they need a scrape.
Right, go for it.
You know what I mean?
No.
Oh, look at it. This is lovely. You could add, if you wanted a bit of indulgence, you could add a bit of caviar to it. You can actually taste the champagne, which is really lovely.
Happy with that? So give it the name of this dish.
Well, it's a Dover sole. It's classic Dover sole, pan-fried, English asparagus, wild garlic, Jersey Royals, petit pois peas, and spring on a plate. That's all right.
That's Galton Blackiston, everybody. Done. Chefy, chefy, chefy. Dive into that. Looks all right, doesn't it?
Yeah, is that all for me?
Yeah, it's just, well, a little bit. I might just sneak a little fork in there, if that's all right. Go on, then.
Lovely.
It's not bad, it's not bad, it's not bad.
Oh, it is all right.
It's not too shabby at all, that.
It's all right?
Yeah, very nice, Gordon.
Sauce all right?
Sauce is good.
Well, don't sound so surprised, you two.
Now, Jersey Royals, are they scratted or unscratted?
They look like they're mashed, and these look like perfect, don't they? Yeah, that.
Yeah,
you're the first person I've ever met that does that.
I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
This is going to go on and on and on, but I cannot believe it. That
Do you scrat or don't you scrat?
Yeah. Right.
It's worth...
It doesn't look very nice, though, does it?
The dish is lovely. Dish is lovely.
Yeah. It's all right, isn't it?
It's very good.
Yeah.
Galton Blackiston, everybody. He's a legend. Right, still to go. We've got one more final dish. So join us again after the break where we're treating these two, and Bryn Turble and Adam Richmond, to a show-stopping plate of steak with peppercorn sauce. See you after the break. Welcome back, sadly, to the last part of the show. We're back in the kitchen with all the chefs and all my guests as well. And I thought with this one, I'm going to crack on, because I'm going to do... You had an amazing little aperitif.
Yeah.
That little sandwich.
Yeah,
you had a nice little sort of aperitif, the little gnocchi and everything else. And we've had some amazing food from you guys. So I'm going to do steak, chips, peppercorn sauce, salad.
Yeah.
You're on salad duty and chip duty. You're on peppercorn sauce duty, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm on steak duty, because what I've got in here is some salt chamber beef, which I've got in here, which we're going to cut through.
This is what I want to see.
You want to see this, do you? Cut all the way through there, and we're going to basically just get this pan nice and hot to start with. There we go. And look at the colour of this. Just check out the colour of this meat. So this is from the Lake District, this beef. So we're going to do 2 different types of steaks over here. I've got that one.
Beautiful.
Look at that. And we've got over here the one next to it, which you can see from the marbling is very, very different. And this, because, Bryn, you're here, this is Welsh Wagyu. This is from Newport.
I've learned something today.
Well, there you go. So we got Welsh Wagyu, and then what we're going to do is then going to basically pan-fry this nice and hot. So if I can get you on chip duty, Chef.
Yeah.
And salad duty, if that's all right.
Yeah, you can need to pass me over the salad.
Salad, there you go. Salad.
Thank you.
Lettuce, lettuce,
Thank you.
lettuce, there you go. I can see, look at the face, Bryn. Look at this. You just, so I always season it with table salt. Oh. Never sea salt. Because Michel Roux, the late great Michel Roux taught me this. So he said, you season it with table salt, because that way it doesn't fall off.
Is table salt like what we call kosher salt back in the States?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to start an ecumenical debate. I was just curious.
Yes, that's
just to translate for the American who had to learn
exactly.
courgette and aubergine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a steep curve, y'all.
So then you basically pop it in the pan, a little bit of butter, and then we're going to really get that pan nice and hot and get tons of colour on it. That's the key to that one, really. So, Bryn, you're here. Let's start with you, first of all, Bryn, about the new album. So, something very, very different for you. 5 years since we last saw a new album from you. This is something very, very different.
Yes, and I've absolutely loved it because...
Which is this one here. You can tell us the name.
Hey!
This is it, this is it, this is it.
And that's on the Cain Peninsula in a beautiful little cove called Porthyn Cain.
Yeah.
And the fisherman took me out, which is brilliant.
But what is it about the Welsh and singing? What is it about that they love so much? We touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
Is that
I think
childhood?
Obviously, it's the background of your parents and your grandparents. But I think that the language is very, very important. There's 6 vowels in the Welsh language. A, E, I, O, U, U. It's a little bit like the Italian language, which is where, of course, opera hails from.
Yeah.
And we sing in multiple languages, but when you do sing in Italian, that is something incredibly special.
How do you find that? Do you speak... Because rumour is that do you speak 6 languages?
No.
You sing?
No, I speak English, I speak Welsh. But to sing in Italian or to sing in German, it's hard work. Just like you guys, doing your recipes every day.
Yeah.
I'm in the music room, and there are some famous singers say the best singing I've ever done is in my music room, whilst learning these pieces, Sometimes you're throwing scores across the room because a Wagner opera, for instance, you might have a scene that lasts for 50 minutes. It's just
and how do you go about learning that? Because you've just come off the back of a big opera as well.
Yeah.
And rumour has it you're fully booked now for, is it 4 years, your diary?
Yeah, we tend to book 3 or 4 years in advance.
4 years?
Yeah.
And this is all around the world, so it never stops for you. How do you find about going from one to the other to the other?
I absolutely love it, returning to different cities. I've been to Sydney a lot, been to New York many times.
Yeah.
And I do love my restaurants, I do love my theatre. Lots of friends in the cities as well, especially ones that are singing with you in those casts.
Well, you've had the ability to travel all over the place, and you've travelled to an amazing place, a bit like yourself. Is there any places where in the world where you, Adam, you think this is the place where I want to go? Any country? Because you've been to so many.
Yeah, I have. I mean, for me, my favorite place on this entire beautiful blue ball is Hawaii. It always has been. I volunteer at a farm and a fish pond there with my mom sometimes.
What is it about there?
Hawaii, I think it's ultimately, I am at the best incarnation of myself. There's something profoundly primal and elemental there. I feel like there are places you can go where it feels like creation just ended the day before you got there. And there's, I don't know, there's a kind of ease and an honesty, and there's quite frankly a musicality to everything, from the wind in the tall grass to the way pigeon is spoken to the way the language of Hawaii is actually spoken. I love it, but I have many more places I really want to go, like Cambodia and New Zealand and things like that.
Yeah. Of all the places, though, where you've been, because there is some spectacular places over here. We mentioned it, that's sort of Argentina and all around there. I mean, for food, I mean, food in Argentina. I've never been, but
amazing.
I hear so much about it.
I think the favourite place that I went to was, as a destination, I love food, I love wine, I love golf.
I know you love golf. We were talking about it earlier.
So, and there's one opera house that kind of has everything around it, and that was the Sydney Opera House in Australia.
But what's it like there, going for the first time and walking out there? What's that like for you? Are you not nervous anymore?
No, I wasn't nervous in those places because the rehearsal process was great. It was the first time I sang that opera. But if I was very nervous at one given opening night, that would have been in Milan, in La Scala.
Right.
Because the audiences are pretty, you know, they're very knowledgeable about opera, and they want to hear good Italian, they want to hear good music. And thankfully, it all went well. And there was about 90 people from Wales that visited as well in that audience, so they helped me a lot.
What you want to get the chips in, Chef?
The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, steak, we're going to cook this nicely over here. We've got a little bit of garlic. If you can crush me the garlic, please, Chef.
Yeah, can do that.
Use the leftover bits of herbs.
Yep.
You've got in there. So, just to recap what we've got in the peppercorn sauce. We've got shallots, garlic, we've got Madeira, we've got black peppercorns, green peppercorns gone in there as well.
They're back to go in,
Yeah,
some more.
yeah. But then we've got, this is where you finish off. You like your steak rare. And
Yes,
I think with Wagyu, you don't definitely want to overcook it. So we're going to pop that in there, and then all I'm going to do is finish this off. That's it. Chuck your shallots in. The garlic in, please, Chef. Thank you very much. Throw that in there. And I'm going to finish this off with the butter. Keep it on high heat. You can check the steak that's in the oven, please, Simon, as well. This is nice. We've got 2 Michelin star chefs, been a commis chef either side of me.
One doing chips.
One doing chips, yeah.
And salad.
They're still there.
One in his place, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't mind doing this.
So we've got but look, you've got isn't this lovely? Just finishing off your steak like this.
Beautiful.
With the garlic butter over the top.
Wow.
Leave that there resting. Over there, you can bring the peppercorn sauce across. There we have it. How are we doing, Galton?
Yeah, ready.
Happy? This is
I like cooking chips.
It's just amazing that you have a Michelin star chef on chips. I just... Chips at all?
It's his own a fish and chip shop.
That is true. But I
Yeah, he's
also
all
love
right.
What? What's
I'm
that,
all
chef?
right at chips. It's a fine art to doing a good chip, you know.
You do own a fish and chip shop, you see. So
Yeah.
there's your nice little bit of steaks that we're going to leave those to sort of rest as well. Meanwhile,
Sauce almost out.
happy ready? So I'll just get that.
And when you put table salt on the steak, but he didn't put any pepper on the...
Now.
Really?
That's how I always done it. But we're going to serve it with peppercorn sauce as well, remember? So,
Yeah.
there you
I
go.
had a chef teach me that salt and pepper are not married, they're just dating. that one's like a powerful flavor enhancer and one has oils and dimensions.
It was complex and everything else, but yeah.
Salt is a seasoning, pepper is a spice.
Yeah, over the top. So, Galton, you've got your chips ready?
All ready, chef.
Look at that.
You've got to put dressing on.
All right, I will do that. So you've got your nice little bit of dressing over here, your delicately fried chips by a Michelin star chef.
Maybe on sewer.
We then take the dressing, which I made earlier on the show. This is a classic French dressing. Sorry about that.
That's okay, I'll save it for later.
So, little bit of French dressing over the top. So this has just got vegetable oil, touch of Dijon mustard, a little bit of white wine vinegar, a touch of water, and some salt and pepper. That's it. A bit of Dijon mustard. That's it.
I
And
just
then
had a question for Chef, if I may. You said something when you were at the Bacchanalian, how that was like your, like, turn from, like, technique to flavor. And I was just fascinated by that. And I was just, because I don't have a fraction of the training the three of you do. And I was just curious how you make that distinction between...
I think it was through the competitions. I'd done so many competitions that people only knew me as a competition chef.
Right.
And I wanted people to know me as a chef restaurants as well. And that's when the awards started coming for food as well as for competition.
See, next time you're over here, you need to go down to Torquay for your next series. Because you've just done a whole series around the UK, 10-part series.
I have indeed, yeah. Adam Richmond Eats Britain, and it's my love letter, culinary love letter to the UK.
And how did you find that?
Amazing. Like I said, I feel that the food in this country and the culinarians in this country are unfairly maligned, and I think hospitality has been all but kneecapped by the pandemic. And I think to do anything that elevates the hardworking men and women behind the restaurants that dot this beautiful country, and throughout Wales, we got a chance to go to have Glamorgan and Pica Arimain across from Cardiff Castle. They were shocked when the kid from Brooklyn hit him with a Diolch yn fawr.
Oh, well done.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just great. And also to show, like, okay, haggis is not this terrible, unapproachable thing. It's really quite wonderful. And and interesting
Great
and well crafted.
Great shout on
Exactly.
you.
Well, next time
Great
you're
shout.
coming over, you've got a list of places to go from us guys, and a certain Welsh opera singer as well. But there we have it. there is my sort of finished dish. We've got.
Feed me now and evermore.
It's so amazing. I feel like the vibrations.
There we have it.
Well,
I
it's
can't
Newport.
top that. Look, you're just going to follow that with beef and peppercorn sauce from Wales for these two. Easy. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. There we have it.
This is all mine.
There we have it. You've got your chips, you've got your salad
Thank
to
you.
go with it.
All
Help
of you.
yourself. Chippy's over here.
Lovely.
And the chefs get the steak off the board. Is that right?
It's always the best.
It's a fair exchange.
Here it goes with the Welsh Wagyu.
Welsh Wagyu.
Dunk it in there.
Don't let your meatloaf.
Wow.
Pepper on first or pepper on last?
Which one did you go for first?
Welsh Wagyu,
Welsh
both
Wagyu.
meat. Like, yeah. What do you guys say? Get stuck in? Is
Get
that right?
stuck in. It's good,
Is
Daddy.
that right? Did I say that right? I mean, it sounds probably stupid when I say it. Is it get stuck in?
You'll be saying that at Grimsby.
I will indeed.
Lovely, that, isn't it? Happy?
It's almost like sashimi grade tuna.
That's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, but you've got to cook it like that and you've got to leave it to rest as well. That's the perfect end to a perfect day. That's sadly all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests, to Andy down in Somerset for that amazing pork that we had earlier on the show. It was spectacular. Simon Hulston, Galton Blackiston, and of course, Adam Richmond and Sabrin Turville. We'll see you back at the same time next Saturday morning. We're joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Stop nicking the beat. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.